Hi guys, welcome back. Okay, today I'm going to begin a new series or a mini series on how to bring your pictures more to life. There's a couple of beginning concepts that I have to go over with you that really are beginner concepts, but there's a reason why you guys are doing it, and we're going to go over that now. What am I talking about? Well, it's called the Ring of Pearls. And every new person does it, and especially coloring book artists do this. Now, I made a copy of this, that's why it looks so dull. I didn't want to touch the original art picture because I'm going to change this up and I'm going to show you what not to do so that you can do what you should do. My beginners are all getting the concepts really well of blending and picking colors that don't create mud, but I would say 95% of them are making this mistake. If you are new to this and if you've been coloring in coloring books for such a long time, you are most likely doing this. And you are creating a string of pearls. And what do I mean by that? Life is not outlined. Unfortunately, in coloring book pictures, it is. So naturally, if you're starting with coloring book, you're going to automatically do this. And what I'm talking about is creating a ring around your photos that starts out looking like this. Now, remember, I did this photo as my bad copy of things. I'm going to demo this a much better way. This is what not to do. You see how I'm sort of enhancing the outline on her. Now, this feels like you should be doing it because you're being guided by lines that really shouldn't be there in life. Nobody is outlined in black. So when you guys are shading, and I see it in most of the pictures that I see from people who have never been corrected, is you're creating that ring of pearls, that string around everything, and really enhancing the outside line. And what you really want is to make that outside line disappear completely. So now I've ruined this picture because basically it's too dark for me to change. What I'd like to see everybody doing is concentrating on not having that string up there, or there, or there, or outlining your flowers, and everybody does it. And unfortunately, what we're going to do over the next couple of videos is we're going to get rid of the coloring book look. I've made a copy of this picture, and I've picked out a blue palette for it. The original picture that I had done a yellow dress, and that's because I'm going to be demonstrating another yellow color this week for the color blending video, and that's lemon yellow. So no matter what I do, I'm never going to get rid of that string of pearls. But here you have a brand new copy, and I've picked out blues. For my more advanced people, my intermediate, you're going to use a sharp pencil. I want to see it sharp. And we're going to start out coloring a smooth undercoat with your lightest pencil. So you're picking out 3 different shades. It could be reds, greens, purples, whatever you want to color. You're going to take the lightest of the 3 that you have already picked out, and you're putting a light layer on it. Hold your pencil back here. No holding it up here. Back here. And it's just a comfortable stroke, lifting up as I get to the end touching the paper very lightly, grabbing just the top bit of the tooth. And it shouldn't take you long just to get that bottom waxy layer on. Then I'm going to get the waxy layer going on the other side of the hat. And just concentrate on smooth, light lines. Nothing circular. You're not varnishing the paper. You're just getting that smooth line. Now, if you've noticed, which may be hard to see, maybe not, I've left places open on here for light. And I was waiting for somebody to comment about it, and they never did. But you see this little thing here, this wide open whatever, which is supposed to be a highlight? Well, it's incorrect. A top hat is a cylinder. How would my light be? It would create a band going straight down because you're curving the hat. So on my real picture, I want to leave some of this open and put a light layer of white where my lightest highlight's going to be. For two reasons. One, it's going to prevent that area from ever getting really super dark. And it's going to keep my layers even. So I still have one layer, but I've got this white highlight going down. And of course you can't see it because it's white on white, but it's there. Okay, now anything I color on top of that is going to be slightly lighter, and I'm going to be careful on it. Now I'm going to do a second layer in my lightest color. And you can go in an opposite direction for good coverage. I'm going to go, since I went this way, I'm going to go sort of this way across the hat. Remember we talked about the coloring technique of cross-hatching? Well, for colored pencils, that's important, and it's going to grab the tooth in another way. And we're going to just put another light layer on top of that. Okay, and then I'm going to get another light layer going on over here. Sort of doing the same thing. My first layer went on like this. My second, I'm going to just move the paper a little bit to get a different angle. And I'm going to cross hatch it in the opposite direction. Now, in another lesson, I'm going to talk about doing the edges. This isn't the one, because we can't do anything about creating soft lines versus hard lines on a picture that's been done by somebody else in black ink. Then I'm going to cross hatch it going the other way. I'm on my third layer. And it's starting to show up a little bit more. Once it starts showing up, where you can actually see the color pigment becoming true to the pencil that you're using, I'm going to now switch it and just get another layer on the other side. And I'm building these layers up. I'm going a little fast. You can go a little bit slower than this. I'm doing this just for time purposes. I'm not holding my pencil so that the point is digging into the paper. I don't want to damage the surface. I'm just looking for a clean buildup of color. Now, I'm not creating any sort of line that's so rigid that it's straight when going across. This is material. So now we're getting a little bit more advanced. We're going to think how material reflects light. I'm going to put another layer of white, blending the white slightly into the blue. And I'm going to move on to my next color. Now, as beginners, I told you, work on at least 3 colors, a dark, a medium, and a light on every object that you color. Nothing has one color in it. To sharpen my pencil. And I got my second color, and I'm going to go over now again. Still holding my pencil towards the back. This is going to become a very relaxing, easy hold for you. And I know I've had some students resist it, but once you do it for a while, this is actually an easier hold on the pencil than holding it like that. Much easier, much less stress on your hands. Now I've already gone up on my tip. Right there, I would probably take an eraser to it. I'm being lazy right now, and I'm not, because I know that it's going to darken up. But if I was doing this, say I was working on a skin, that would have just become a wrinkle in a person's skin. So keep that in mind. You want to be able to do it very lightly and very evenly. And I could see 1, 2, 3 lines that I would be erasing. Now, of course, on material, because thread is never 100% even, having a couple of little straggly lines is something you're going to put in at the end anyway. So it's not so bad. But you don't want those wrinkles in skin. Unless, of course, you're doing somebody with wrinkles. Then it's okay. Your eraser is your best friend. Every artist uses them. In fact, you can create art with your pencil and your eraser. Eraser is a tool for creating art, not just erasing art. Working lightly. Now the stroke that I'm doing, I'm actually kind of forming a C. I'm not going back and forth. Remember, that's not art. That's scribbling. I'm doing strokes up, 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 like in a C. Now you may be building up to 20 layers. That's going to be up to you and how heavy your hand is. I'm only going to put a couple of layers on because it's my time on the video. I have to be careful. Or I'm going to be sitting here teaching you all day long. That's all you're going to have time for is my lessons. Going back, putting another layer on. And you could see that color building. Now it could build up a lot more. Let's just say we want to do a light hat. I'm going to get out my darkest color. Now this is very rudimentary, intermediate coloring. Hold your pencil back there. And we're going to put in that layer with the darker. Now, what aren't I creating when I'm doing this? I'm not creating an outline. And why am I not creating an outline? Because life doesn't have an outline. No objects do. And as I deepen the outside colors and I continue with my strokes, now I'm going way too fast. Totally slow it down. I want to be able to do this for you in real time. But I've already demonstrated with that other videos that real time takes a long time. Okay, so now I'm getting towards the middle where I have my highlight, and that's where the light is going to hit it. But it's very rarely, unless it's on a Photoshopped object, that a light is rigid. Light disperses, especially on material. I looked at a lot of top hats as my reference guide. Now let's talk a little bit about reference versus inspiration. You really are not going to be able to find a reference picture for this unless you're copying somebody who's already copied it. But there's plenty of inspiration pictures. And what I did is I looked at a whole bunch of top hats. And we're going to talk about inspiration boards. I'm going to get into all of that with you guys. A lot of the pictures you could tell were photoshopped because their highlight was just too highlighted. When you look at a top hat in person, unless that top hat is made out of glass or metal, you're not going to have such sharp edges on your highlight. A more natural highlight is going to look like this. I probably would have made this a little bit darker, but now I have to go in and blend. Now you can blend using the mineral spirits or the Gamsol, and that's okay. My preferred method is with a white pencil, and that's where I'm going to bring my hand down and I'm going to blend up these colors. I have a lot of layers on the page, and now I kind of want to smash them together into a very smooth look. If you're using Gamsol or mineral spirits, of course, this will be faster. I don't want to turn my paper into magic marker, which I kind of feel that Gamsol does, which is good, I guess, for bottom layers. Colored pencil look like colored pencil. And I'm just taking individual areas, doing a light circle. I'm not varnishing the paper, which means I'm not digging into the paper. I'm just sort of going along the top. You can almost feel the colors melding together. And as you can obviously see, as I'm blending, it's becoming more and more dark. Nice, rich colors are starting to come out with each other. So you got to remember, you always got to do that blend on it because it just doesn't work. You kind of get all that white of the paper in it. Okay, now I'm going to start with this side, and you'll see it'll happen on that side also. Just light circular strokes. Your hand is moved down onto the pencil to get a good firm grip on it. Not like before. Before, back here. Now you're blending. You're not doing any detail work, but you're getting everything nice and smooth. So I was talking to you guys about the ring of pearls. I first heard the term back when I was in art school, and my teacher used to say all the time, no rings of pearls, no ring of pearls on anything. And then the second time I heard this described to me was I went out and this is typical me. Without talking to my husband, I went out into our perfectly manicured lawn with a little shovel built for me, just this little shovel, and I started digging a pond. And of course, my husband came home from work, walked into the backyard, and was like, "What the heck are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm building a pond." And like a good husband that he always is, he rolled his eyes at me and said, "Have fun," knowing that eventually he's going to have to hire somebody to fix what I have just done. Which, of course, I got maybe past the grass level because I had never pulled out sod and I was literally using a trowel. Like one of those little things. I was going to get rid of the grass, which, of course, is now all I've done is destroyed the upper layer of the grass, chopped it up, and my husband had to hire somebody to build my pond. Well, the size pond that I built was came out to be 2,700 gallons. It's a lot of pond. And my husband ended up having to hire a he hired a actual ponding expert to come fix my mess. And when I started telling the guy what I wanted and how I was envisioning it, he looked at me and said, "You're creating a ring of pearls." And I was like, "What?" I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, in nature, in a pond, you would never see rocks going around the edge. They're all scattered, in different directions. Not everything is smooth in nature. It just doesn't work that way." And of course, he was right, and my pond was gorgeous. It had a little bit of a ring of pearls on it because I kind of insisted a little bit. I wanted that edge because I knew I'd be walking on the edge. But the pond did come out really beautiful. I really, really liked that pond. It was huge. It had a lot of wildlife in it. And I had a lot of enjoyment sitting by it. I thought I'd be able to have a pond here, but guess what? You can't have a pond in the desert. I wonder why. So my idea of a pond in Nevada went south. And why can't you? Because the summer heat burns out the plants. Even though they're sitting in water, it doesn't work. Okay, next layer. I'm going to take my medium color and I'm going to go yet again. So my next layer, I'm going to repeat until I have the saturation I want. Now, I didn't put in any details or anything like that, but I just wanted to show you how not to create that ring. And of course, now I have to shade and shadow it. So you get the idea. Now, I still need to work on this a little bit more. Picture is not done. But now when you go to look at this picture, see the difference? My little string of pearls. No string of pearls. And I will see you tomorrow when we build on this concept. Take care.